In this video, I'm going to give you guys my first impressions, San Juan, Puerto Rico. Now, like most of my first impression videos, keep in mind that I've only been here for around a week and I've mainly stayed in the capital, San Juan. So these ideas, these observations are subject to change in the future as I start to explore more. That being said, let's get into the first impression, which is the weather. As you guys may already know, we are in the Caribbean. And I just want to say that there's just something different about the heat here. I don't know what it is. Maybe because it's an island, so you have humidity hitting you from all sides. You can't run away. Out here in Puerto Rico, every day I leave the house, it's a struggle. Even to go out for groceries at the supermarket, that's a block away. Whenever I get back to my apartment, I have to change clothes. I have to rinse myself off in the shower, and it just gets to you sometimes. But that's one thing you should know, which you probably already know. Puerto Rico, it's super hot and super humid here. The next first impression is the look of the city. Now again, I've mainly been in the city center and in the tourist areas, Condado, the historic center, and a few other places, Santurce. But I will say I didn't know what to expect, especially hearing about the hurricane they had a while back. But those areas are nicer than I thought. I don't really see any residue or evidence of the destruction that happened back in the day, because the Condado area is built up, looks very nice and lovely, and also the historic center. One of the most beautiful and cleanest historic centers that I've seen. Usually when you get to a colonial area, it's historic for a reason. So it's super old. Some of them are run down. You have stray dogs running around everywhere, potholes, trash. But the historic center here called Old San Juan is beautiful. It's clean. The day that I went, I did not see a lot of trash around. The buildings look nice. It seems to me that they really take care of that area. These next 3 to 4 points are all going to tie in together. And that is due to the fact that Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory. And because of that, one, you're going to hear a lot of English, especially among the youth. So when it comes to like Uber drivers, if you're at a party or a nightlife zone and you have some younger folks there or some females you're trying to holler at, chances are they're going to speak some English. The only people that I encountered that really didn't speak it well was the older generation. But I'm sure if you're at a hotel, at a restaurant, a store, there's probably going to be an attendant there that speaks English. And this is another reason why I think this is a great travel destination for people who are new to, traveling internationally or like traveling away from mainland USA. Coming here, you don't need a passport. They speak English. Chances are your cell phone service from back home will most likely work here, or at the minimum, it'll drop down to a slower service to where you can still use the basics, your Google Maps, Uber, etc., etc. You can use your driver's license here. And lastly, this place is already set up for tourists. Let me preface this next point by saying that I read a statistic recently that said that there are more Puerto Ricans living in the U.S. than on the island of Puerto Rico. In the U.S., it was saying there's like 5+ million Puerto Ricans, whereas on the island, there's around 3 million, give or take. Which makes sense because Puerto Ricans are American citizens, so they can travel to the U.S. whenever they want. And because of this, I kind of see the effect of that statistic. What I mean by this is that it seems like it's a little, I don't want to say empty, but very spacious here. I think that's the best word I can come up with right now. For example, when I first arrived to San Juan, I needed to get a SIM card ASAP. When I got to the city center, going to the SIM card store, it was around 5:30 p.m. And as I was walking, I noticed that there weren't really a lot of people out. And I'm in the city center. And I was just thinking to myself, man, it seems kind of empty, especially around this time when people should be getting off work, going to the bus stop or going to the store to hurry up and grab groceries to cook for later that night. I didn't really sense that when I was out and about. Another example is recently on a Saturday, I went to a beach, Condado Beach, to do some filming. And usually other places that I've been to, if I went to the beach on a weekend, it would be packed with people, blasting music, food everywhere, drinks everywhere. But here, the beach wasn't as filled. Although there was a lot of people out, it just wasn't as hectic, which may not be a bad thing for some of you guys who want to visit, right? Sometimes like too much of anything could be bad and too many people on the beach can be irritating. So I'm not saying that it was a bad thing. It's just I was expecting something different. For this next point, I will say it probably ties into the previous one I spoke about, where I didn't really see many people out and about. And I think that's because of obviously the weather. It's crazy hot and humid here. But two, public transportation. Now, from what I've heard and from doing my research online, public transportation here on the island isn't the greatest. I'm really figuring that out because I want to hit up some other cities, but it doesn't seem like there are buses that go there, which I thought there would be, because the size of the island, it seems like it's very easy to get around quickly. And I assume there would be like a bus company that goes to all the major spots, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. And so having a vehicle here is vital. And I'm sure the people on the island know that as well, which is why all of them have vehicles. This ties into the point I was talking about earlier about no one really being out and about. And to get from one point to the next, they just drive. And that's the main reason why I'm going to rent a car here within the next week, because it's very important. You basically need it here to get around. This next point is going to be about the prices here in San Juan. And if you've been watching some of the videos, you may have heard some of the estimates that were quoted to me. And yeah, it's pretty much similar to the prices in the United States. So just keep in mind that the prices that you pay on tourist mode are going to be similar to what you're used to most likely back home. Obviously, do they have more affordable places when you get outside of the city center? Of course. I'm sure most people aren't trying to go to the hood to save, an extra $2 to $3. And last but not least, I will say that so far from my time here, Puerto Ricans, man, they know how to party. I'm from a city called Seattle in the US, and to my knowledge, we don't have many Puerto Ricans. But if you're in, let's say, Chicago, Miami, or New York, let me know if I'm tripping. Let me know if it's just the Puerto Ricans on the island or if it's just in general in the culture, but they do know how to party. Another thing I didn't know was about how strong reggaeton is to this island. I assumed all the reggaeton artists were from Colombia, because the main one I know is J Balvin. He's from Colombia. So I assumed, they're all from Colombia, but no. I had an Uber driver who corrected me. It was like, nah, the biggest reggaeton stars are from Puerto Rico. Bad Bunny and some other ones I don't know. So far, salsa and reggaeton are like the huge music genres here. I'm sure there's some others, some folklore, maybe some cumbia or some other stuff. I'll figure it out. But definitely reggaeton and salsa. But with all that being said, these are the first impressions. I will explore more. Like I said, I'm gonna try to get a rental car so I can drive around, because public transportation is not looking bright right now. But I'm gonna go ahead and end the video right here. I appreciate you guys watching. Hope you guys have found some value in the video, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Deuces.